Sure enough, the show open's got to have me with Tom Brady when my name comes up. Really? This is you got to do that to me? What's
I didn't
next?
make it.
Aaron Rodgers? Oh boy, everybody knows how I feel. Well, welcome the Steer the Line crew: Loud Esmond, Jeremy James, Christian Giordani. Join me, Rocky, shortly. We're going to be doing an intro to a Southern California radio audience in a couple of minutes. We're live on YouTube. We are on Max Wagers. We're part of Winners and Winers. And we're also on ABC News Radio, KMET in Southern California. So a lot of different things going on. We're going to be doing an hour-long show, NFL betting, USFL betting, a little general football talk. And Christian does our Seahawks beat. Jeremy covers the Raiders. And we have Rocky covering the Rams. So there's a lot going on the show, and we're going out in lots of different places. So just be prepared. It's going to move fast. It's going to be wild and wacky at times here on Steer the Line. And this is your crew that you're going to be seeing most every week here on Steer the Line is Jeremy, Christian, and the rest. So welcome. Well, there's Rocky.
There's Rocky. Rocky showed up.
Yay! Glad to have Rocky.
Is anybody else getting an echo in there?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. They were just going to have to live with it tonight and figure it out. We'll be working out.
You're kidding me.
We'll be working out the kinks, as we say, as we move along. It's live radio, YouTube.
Every time Lou scolds me, I have to hear
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Here we go to the live intro to the Southern California radio audience on KMET in just a moment.
So that must be kind of interesting for people to watch as we get ready for live radio.
No,
Right.
Sean doesn't have an echo.
Well, we'll see how that works out in just a minute. We're just about to get the intro to...
Here we go, guys.
Its management, employees, or affiliates.
Time now for the Educated Retirement Show. Your host, Jay Kaplan.
No, we're not doing the retirement
Answer your
show.
questions at 951-922-3522.
I don't think we're doing the retirement show.
I'm not quite at that age yet.
No, we're not quite there.
And now here's Jay.
No, it's not in the retirement show, actually. This is the Steer the Line program, where we're going to be talking about the USL, FL, the NFL, and all things involved there, as well as sports betting. So let me start with this. The USFL has a gambling problem. And their gambling problem is that they are not giving the bettors all the information they need in a timely fashion. It is really hard to find information on the USFL about injuries, about just player changes on the depth chart, and it wreaked havoc with my bets last week. And I'm not the only one who's complaining about this. There are a lot of bettors complaining about the lack of transparency in the USFL when it comes to injuries and just changes to personnel. And it's not a good thing. The league is going to grow. It's going to be largely dependent on gambling at the beginning because the ratings aren't that high. But there's money to be made in the gambling side of it. And, you would think Fox, that is really pushing hard this Fox bet thing that they're doing, would, because they're the main broadcast network, would really be on top of the fact that you need to have this information available to bettors, but they're not. So it's a problem. Well, let's recap what happened last week. I went 1 for 3, Jan. The Generals beat the Wallers 29-18. I think that was a 10.5-point spread. Had that one nailed. It was an easy win cover for the Generals. So, pretty efficient game for the Generals. New Jersey, Luis Perez the quarterback had about 220 passing yards with a touchdown. Their running back had a great game, 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pittsburgh didn't play terrible in the first half, but they just couldn't hang with the Generals, as I had predicted, and they lost by a fairly large margin. The Philadelphia Stars had the game of the week. Wow. They scored 46 points in handing Michigan its 7th loss of the season in a big showing on Sunday. The quarterback, Case Cookus, had 4 touchdown passes and an almost 80-yard touchdown run. Might have been the slowest 80-yard touchdown run I've ever seen in my life, by the way. I based my bet on the Panthers +5 on the fact that their quarterback, Josh Love, the week before had come in, and he didn't turn the ball over, which is what the major problem had been for the Panthers. And I'm thinking, okay, they found a little something at quarterback. The guy doesn't turn the ball over. They play decent defense. I think they'll hang with the Stars. But no, see, this is Jeff Fisher coaching this team. So does he stick with the hot hand? Does he go with the guy that gave him a chance to win the game? Oh, no, we're not going to do that, Jeff Fisher. We're going to put Paxton Lynch back in, who played horrible at the beginning of the season, then got hurt. Oh, by the way, the first thing he did was come in and throw a pick. I think he had 3 on the day, and they got blown out. It's quite possible that Jeff Fisher and John Elway are the 2 worst quarterback evaluators in football history. Just throwing it out there. And then the Bandits beat the Gamblers 13-3. It wasn't a great game by the Bandits, and the Bandits quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu, was a pretty bad 12 for 21, 98 passing yards. But the Gamblers starting quarterback, Clayton Thorsten, another one of these injuries that wasn't reported, didn't play. And they put in some guy named Kenji Behar, his relation to Joy unknown. But I think she could have played better quarterback than he did. This dude threw some of the worst passes I've ever seen in a professional sports game. And that's saying something, because the quarterback play has been awful for the most part in the USFL. He was in the team at 12 for 21 with less than 100 yards passing. The team scored 3 points and failed to cover the +5.5. Again, I'm screwed by a replacement that I should have known about before the game kicked off. But the information just isn't getting out there. Rocky, you're shaking your head. You feel my pain.
Yeah. That's called being snake bit.
Well, doesn't the USFL have a responsibility if they're going to promote? I mean, I can understand if they're like anti-gambling. That's one thing. But you have Fox pushing Fox bets the whole freaking game, and then their league that they're running doesn't get injury updates and player updates out there in a timely manner?
Without question, Lou, this is something that has to be real-time notifications. You go to a horse track, you go to bet on a horse right before the race, even like 5 seconds of it scratch. Your bet's nullified. You know what I mean? You get your money back. The real-time updates on betting is an absolute responsibility that they have to take care of. But that's just not acceptable at all. And I'm sure they're going to get more than just a little flack from a few bettors. There are actually federal organizations that are going to chime in on this one.
Jeremy, you're more of a fantasy football guy, but if you were starting a key player on your fantasy football team and he was injured earlier in the week in practice and was not going to play, and you didn't find that out until the game kicked off, would you be a little annoyed?
Well, yeah. You're putting your money on the line, trying to have a little more fun with the game, I suppose. Like you said, betting's not really my thing, but I understand the excitement of it. And I understand that, a lot of people bet, well, obviously to win. So when you don't have the information you believe you should have, or you have bad information or misinformation, or if they're just not telling you things like who's going to be starting, it's going to make it kind of hard to, make proper bets and make the right bet and put your money in the right place.
Round robin, let's close this out with Christian. Do I have a right to be upset?
Yeah, you definitely have a right to be upset about the whole situation. I'm not going to push your team myself, but I don't have much to say. Go on, Lou.
Well, I just got to say, it annoys the you-know-what out of me. I would have never bet those two games that way if I had known what I found out right after the game kicked off. I mean, when that guy, Behar, comes out to play quarterback, I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? And then they cut to Thorsten on the sidelines. Well, he had surgery on his elbow on Tuesday and is out for the season. What? Now you tell me? Yeah, no. Not happy about it at all. All right, let's go to the picks for this week. I've got 3. Generals, Stallions, and Stars. Generals minus 7.5. Stallions minus 12.5. Stars minus 8.5. So here's my breakdown. The New Jersey Generals covered easily against the Maulers last week. And, now they face a team that might be even worse, who gave up a whopping 46 points to the Philly Stars last week. The Generals did struggle to score last week, but they're better than the Panthers by a mile. And by the way, the Panthers are coached by Jeff Fisher. So I think they easily cover the touchdown and the hook easily. New Jersey Generals minus 7.5. Then you've got the Stallions versus the Gamblers. This is a big number. 12.5. The Stallions are favored by, and I like it. Look, the quarterback that I just said can't play, Kenji Behar, is going to start again. Unless there's another injury or something and they don't tell us. But that's what I'm assuming right now. He's throwing balls out of bounds, into the dirt, over receivers, under receivers, as well as to the other team. Look, the Gamblers are one of the two best teams in the league. And the other team, they're a mess. The Gamblers, they're just bad. I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt a couple weeks ago. I got bit by them last week when they put in this new quarterback and the other one was injured who was keeping them in games. So forget it. I'm done with them. And I like them, the Stallions, to cover the 12.5. And then the Stars and the Maulers. I mean, the Stars exploded last week. 46 points. Their complicated passing game with their rub routes and their crossing routes and all of that, which I kept waiting for it to really click. It did finally last week. As I said earlier, Case Cook has had 4 touchdowns. A lot of this was bad Michigan Panthers defense, but I have been waiting for the Stars offense to really take off. It's been so close all season long, and they finally did. And now a team that was an early season favorite to maybe win it all is building a little momentum, and they are pushing towards the playoffs, want to make some noise, and they're playing a team in the Maulers that are just, they're done. They're a dumpster fire, stick a fork in them, whatever you want to say, they're finished. So once again, the picks this week: Generals minus 7.5, Stallions minus 12.5, Stars minus 8.5. Any questions, class? No.
Well,
I know you guys aren't following the USFL as close as I am.
we're actually starting to, and I was invited to do a segment down here on Telenoticias Channel 7. Really quick, a young lady came down. We had a quick filming session and I spoke about Steer the Line. And as it turns out, there are some people down here who are actually interested in, besides American football, they're watching the USFL. So yeah, it's starting to gain a little steam. And I'm gonna tell you, Lou, right now, Las Vegas is gonna have a problem with that real time updates on injuries and holdout and who's sitting, who's playing. That's gonna be a real problem. They're gonna fix. I imagine they're gonna fix that real soon. But not only are we watching USFL now, other people are starting to watch.
Well, the USFL numbers haven't quite crossed that magic million viewer mark, but they're not far off. They're 840, 900. And I think the league is gaining momentum. The quarterback play has been a real problem. I can't believe how bad the quarterbacks are. I mean, I watch a lot of college football, and I'm like, man, I see college quarterbacks that are way better looking than these guys. And I'm wondering, is it because they're playing with a bunch of inferior other players? Is it because they just threw the teams together? Or are these guys that just don't have the talent to be in the NFL, and kind of like that 32-year-old rookie who's still in Double-A, they just haven't quite figured it out and hung it up? Christian, do you think maybe some of these guys are just chasing a dream that they shouldn't be chasing?
I mean, yeah, in every sport like that are never going to really accomplish a major career to the NFL level. But I respect these guys for doing what they love. They love football. If I was in that situation, the USFL would be a perfect stepping stone for me. So most of these guys won't make it far in a career, especially I don't think they would transition to the NFL. But it's a fun thing for them to do, and they get a paycheck.
Well, we'll leave that there. There's your USFL update for this week, going into week 9, licking our wounds from not being given the proper information in week 8. I'm Loud Esmond. You've got my picks. I'll recap them in the second half hour for the folks that join us for that half hour here on the network and also on ABC News Radio KMET. Of course, we're also live on YouTube right now as well. Earlier this week, something very interesting happened in terms of betting lines in the NFL. All Cleveland Browns related action was taken down from every sports book I can find. I can't find any sports book that is taking any action on the Browns in any way. Rocky, you've been around longer than any of us, and I say that in a respectful way.
Quite all right. I can wear that jacket.
When you see all the sports books in the world decide they want nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me what I think we've been alluding to over the past few weeks, Lou. It's coming to a head now. Let me explain really quickly what was happening before and what changed this week. When they signed Desean Watson to that huge
Watson.
Watson. Yeah, to that huge $100 million, trillion dollar contract. This was how it was worded. The Browns basically said, we are aware of the 26 assault charges, complaints against you, and we're going to ride with that. We're still going to guarantee the money as long as nothing else happens. As long as you don't do anything new and there are no complaints, tell us about everything. And Watson's agent said, yeah, that's it. 26 complaints. You know about them. We're all good. Well, guess what happened? Number 27's complaint rolled in. And that gives the Browns a window to actually not pay him any of that money. So a lot of new things have happened. And now, by the way, Lou, remember when Ray Rice punched his wife in the elevator? He got suspended for life. Another guy had a little bit of a domestic beef, and he's still on suspension. I have never seen a player in any sport be protected the way Desean Watson has been. We haven't heard a peep from the NFL or anybody else. He just shows up for practice like everything's everything and nothing's happening, man. And everybody's cool and everybody's quiet. And now number 27 drops a new charge, and there might even be a 28 now. And this was not included in the contract negotiations. This gives the Browns a window, I think, to back out of the contract. I think that's eventually what's going to happen. And Las Vegas is saying, we're already backing out. We're done.
Christian.
Yeah, Desean Watson has got a 24th lawsuit. The final number, they finally released all the numbers of the women he's seen in that 17-month span. It was 66 women, And they're speculating that might go as far back to his college days at Clemson University. So this isn't a thing he's been doing since Houston. It might be a thing he's been doing since a young man at Clemson. With the uncertainty of Desean Watson's future, the NFL still hasn't announced a decision whether or not he will play. And I agree with Rocky. No player has been defended this much other than Desean Watson. I remember the Ray Rice case when I was a young man, and it was he got suspended for life. Trevor Bauer got 2 years of suspension in the
By the
MLB.
way, Christian was 6 when the Ray Rice thing went down.
Still a young man.
Throw that out there.
But Trevor Bauer got suspended 2 years, and he's completely. There's no proof of actual.
He really liked teacher roles at that age, by the way, just so you know.
Trevor Bauer was completely vindicated, and he still got a 2-year suspension. This what Desean Watson's been doing has been going on, and we haven't heard a peep from the NFL.
You know what's fascinating? I saw somebody do the math on this, and they said Ben Roethlisberger was accused by 2 women of sexual misconduct, and he was suspended for 4 games. That would mean Desean Watson's suspension should be 98. And I'm not sure that is Mike Florio, who, I don't, he's not, God or anything to me when it comes to prognosticating on things that are going to happen. But he floated on his radio show that Desean Watson might not see the field for 3 years. And his reasoning was this. The NFL is now under so much heat that they may not be able to allow him to see the field until all of the lawsuits are settled, for fear that there are going to be more, or something else is going to happen, or another report is going to surface while he's in Cleveland now. And oh, by the way, the other wrinkle is, it turns out the Houston Texans rented hotel rooms for him to have massage therapy and gave him a non-disclosure agreement to have his therapist sign. What?
And what happened? They're now a defendant named in the lawsuit. The Texans
they're now named in the lawsuit. Jeremy, it's been a while since you chimed in. How bad does this get, do you think?
It can get pretty bad for, Desean Watson, for the league, for the Browns. They have to, if I'm the Browns, I'm already upset that after signing, they made the mistake of signing him with that huge deal anyway, but now, 4 more instances have come out since he's been signed, plus all the information about the NDAs and all that stuff. They have to be concerned that there's going to be more after this, both the Browns and the league. And I don't know that he sees the field this year. I have to wonder if he really does. So many questions are up in the air. And it's like you said, other people have been suspended for however long it's been, a few games, a few weeks, for much less. The problem with Desean Watson is he's a young superstar that they want playing in this league. The NFL wants him on TV every week and playing for the Browns. And they're hoping, I think, they can find a way to keep him on the field at least by next year. They want him playing. So do the Browns, but the pressure, I think, is going to be too much to let that man on the field.
All right, we're going to go around the horn. We're going to go around the horn here.
Question for Lou. For Loud. Real quick, Desean Watson. Do you think if all these charges were against Tom Brady, he'd be playing? I don't know. What do you think?
Boy, Tom Brady is maybe the one guy that the whole world might give the benefit of the doubt. But I'll tell you what, I know for sure. If it was Derek Carr, he'd have already been suspended for life because he's a Raider. That would already have happened.
Now, that thing about him being a superstar and then wanting to see him on the field, I'm sure that holds a lot of water. But if this was a superstar like Tom Brady, I'm telling you right now that he would be hanging an effigy all over.
I see.
Everybody hates him. Everybody hates Tom Brady.
And age and privilege thing is where you're going. In other words,
well,
if Deshaun Watson was old and white,
yes,
this might
that's
be
my
different.
point. Yeah, that's my
Oh
point.
boy,
exactly my point.
that's a loaded question. I'm not going there, but here's what I'm shifting away from that right now. Here's what I want to know. This is, after all, a betting show. Over, under, or percentage, does Deshaun Watson see the field this year? Christian, if you had to bet $100, which way are you betting?
I bet Deshaun Watson doesn't see the field at all this season. I don't think he sees it ever again in his
10 to
career.
1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1. What odds do you need to say he will see the field?
I need 30 to 1 odds.
Is this over under one game?
This is no. This is you can do the over-under percentage of, like, I'm going to say it's 70-30 Deshaun Watson does not see the field this year. Christian says he needs 30 to 1 odds to bet that he will see the field this year. Rocky.
I think he's on the active roster through preseason, but does not take the field in week 1. No.
All right, give me a number.
100%.
Wow.
Even
Rocky's
when I'm
betting
down.
the entire family jewels.
Yep.
Just saying. Jeremy,
this guy's not gonna play.
over or under a percentage?
I'm going to say it's like 80-20 that he doesn't play this year at all.
Boy, that is a lot of people on this show that are 100%, 80%, or 70% sure that Deshaun Watson doesn't play.
He should.
And theoretically, Lou, any jury he faces will be of his peers. Guys just like us.
Well, that's true. That's true. You know,
You better hope not.
it's the drip of the story and the fact that his accusers have been so forward and just unwavering and stiff in their...
Okay, that's two. First you did drip, now you did stiff. They're not sneaking by me, Lou.
I'm
Talking
just
about
saying
Deshaun Watson.
they've been pretty forceful in their accusations and unwavering. That's all I'm trying to say.
1
Right.
minute.
All right, we're going to be out of ABC News Radio for Steer the Line in about 45 seconds. Jeremy, why don't you take us out of ABC and make our transition over to just being on YouTube and Steer the Line on Winners and Winers and Max Wagers Network.
Yeah, for those of you listening on the radio right now, if you want to join us for another half hour, find us on YouTube in the just Winners and Winers, Steer the Line. Look for that. You'll find us on there right now. We're about to get out of here. Yeah, that too. You can find us on YouTube. We are live right now on there, so go join us for the rest of the show. Otherwise, we'll see the radio guys audience next week, same time, same place, right here, 5 o'clock every Friday. For Steer the Line, go Raiders, go football. We'll see you guys next week, unless you hop over to YouTube. See you then.
Right.
So there you go. We're off the radio, I think now. Yeah, yes, we're off. I saw Sean leave, so we are now here just on the tube, everyone. Steer the Line here on YouTube today.
Max Wagers Network tonight as well?
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, that's the one we're on.
Right. Max Wagers Network. We're
There you
live
go.
on our YouTube channel for Steer the Line. So these are the two places you can be seeing us right now. This is sort of the after party. We did the show on ABC News Radio KMET, and now Steer the Line moves over to the YouTube channel, and we continue on the Max Wagers Network. And, of course, you can also find me and the rest of the crew on Winners and Winers as we do our USFL picks throughout the week. And I'm going to recap those right now. It was a tough week last week. There was, as I said earlier in the show, the USFL has a gambling problem. They're not getting the information out to the bettors in a timely fashion, and they have got to get their S together about that, or people like me are going to stop betting, and that's going to lose a lot of interest in the league and really hurt them. Picks this week: Generals minus 7.5, Stallions minus 12.5, Stars minus 8.5. Generals of New Jersey take on the Maulers of Pittsburgh. The Generals are one of the best teams in the league. The Maulers are just bad. So, do I see them covering 7.5? Sure. The Stallions and the Gamblers. The Gamblers started some guy at quarterback last week I've never heard of. I'm not going to get back into when we found out and when the injury happened to the other guy and how that's bad and we should know more. But the Stallions, again, one of the better teams in the league. The Gamblers, they're going to start that guy at quarterback again. The Gamblers only managed 3 points last week with him at quarterback. It's a big number, 12.5, but yeah, I'm going to take it. I think it's not going to be really hard for the Stallions to cover 12.5 against them. And then the Stars, who scored 46 points last week, their offense really took off finally, and they were one of the favorites to win the whole thing early in the offseason. Phillies in the playoffs looking to build momentum. And the Maulers, who they play, of Pittsburgh, who are 1-8 at this point, they're done. They're 1-7. They will be 1-8 after this week. They're finished. They're a dumpster fire. Expect the Stars to cover the 8.5. So I'm going chalk with all my picks. Generals minus 7.5. Stallions minus 12.5. Stars minus 8.5. When we wrapped up the show over on Cam ET, we were wrapping with, well, we don't think it's the whole crew, and I don't know what happened to Christian, but Rocky Giordani is here, Jeremy's here, Loud Esmond here. We were all in agreement that there's a very small chance that Desean Watson sees the field at all next season. Rocky, you want to recap why?
Well, did the echo just disappear when Luke turned his mic off? No, it's still there. Okay. So there's what happened. Basically,
that's loud to you, by the way.
Loud, sorry, buddy. The Browns basically agreed a huge contract with Desean Watson for $10 trillion and the moon and somebody's kidney and a right leg. He's getting all that just for playing football. And what they agreed to was we're going to guarantee all of this money, 100% of it, even though we know about the 26 accusations of sexual assault against you. So it doesn't matter. We're cool with it. Whatever happens, happens.
Sexual misconduct.
It's okay, right. Sexual misconduct. Okay. And as long as nothing else happens, nothing new, you don't do anything else or nothing else comes to light, we're good. So is that everything? And his agent and him? Yeah, that's it. That's all of it. 26 are complaining, and that's going to be the end of it. Well, yesterday, number 27 came out and filed a charge. Now, what this means is this gives the Browns a window to throw Desean Watson out of. They can actually avoid that contract now because the wording was 26 accusations. We're cool with it as long as nothing else comes up. Now 27 came out. There might even be another 28 is what I'm hearing. So I think that will be all the Browns need to cut ties with Desean Watson.
Let me just correct the record. It's not 27. It's now 24. There was 22, then 23, now 24.
Okay. Well, whatever. They had agreed to a certain amount of.
In other words, it's still just bad.
No, now it's worse. They can actually avoid his contract because he said, that's it.
I'm going to have to see that language because if I was his agent, there's no way I would have signed that. And I haven't seen that clearly reported anywhere else. I'm going to take your word for it. But let's just say it this way, Jeremy. It is now worse than it was before for Desean Watson, is it not?
Yeah, it's gotten worse, and the fact that it's continuing to get worse, I can only assume it's going to continue to be a downhill, fall for this guy. He's gonna probably have more of these women come out against him, letting even.
Look, I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing. The whole story is just sort of ick. And, Okay, I'm not going to go there. Why? What his motivation is and all that. It's just bad. And I don't think the NFL is going to be able to put him on the field this year. I don't think they're going to be able to put him on the field until all the lawsuits are behind him, because they're going to be afraid that some other shoe is going to drop. And well, that's just me. All right, let's talk some NFL over and unders, shall we? After all, it is a betting show.
Yes,
all right, let's start with this. Denver's number, the Denver Broncos, is over or under 10 wins. Go around the horn, Jeremy. Over or under 10 for Denver?
Under.
Over or under for Denver?
Under.
Rocky, 10 for Denver.
Way under.
Okay. Russell Wilson being traded to Denver took them from 4th place in the AFC West and nowhere to a favorite to win the AFC West and to win 11 or 12 games. And then all pundits on ESPN and all the other networks, Denver's a playoff team. Denver this, Denver that. I live in the Pacific Northwest in Seahawk land, and I watched Russell Wilson play all last year, and he didn't play all that good. And by the way, Tyler Lockett is one of the best deep threats in the NFL. He's number 3, I think, in deep threat receiving yards. And the other guy, oh boy, his name's escaping me. DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
He's a beast. The guy is a physical freak as a receiver, and Russell could often just scramble around and throw the ball sideways in the air, and somebody on his team would come down with it. He's not going to have that luxury at Denver. Jerry Jeudy, and I don't even know the other guy's name. So here's their schedule. Opening night at Seattle. Then they go to the Texans and then the 49ers, and then at the Raiders. Then they play Indianapolis. Then they're at the Chargers. Then they get the New York Jets. Then they're at Jacksonville in London. At Tennessee, again at the Raiders, at Carolina, at Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona, at Rams, at Chiefs, LA Chargers. Holy S, is that a tough schedule. Rocky?
It is a tough schedule for a team with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, knew everything. I knew everybody and a new quarterback. Listen, Russell Wilson, his athleticism and his elite athleticism hid the Pete Carroll's, conservative offense, happy as it was. I don't think he's going to be able to do it as much in Denver. However, I really do believe that his last year was a fluke. He won it out, and now he's found a new home, and everybody loves him. And I think Russell Wilson will account for a few more wins than probably we're giving them. But I don't think they go over in any way. But I think they're going to have a better chance with Russell there. But he's not going to be able to do what he did in Seattle. It's not as good a system.
Yeah, Russell's not going to be very productive in Denver. He doesn't have the offensive threats he did in Seattle. And I get Denver's defense is very elite, but there's no offensive power behind him, and especially in a tough AFC West, I can't see him making it to the playoffs. I can't even see him making a winning record.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm with all you guys there on that one. My thing with Denver, they've got Russell Wilson, but his weapons are, while they've got some good receivers in Denver, they got a good running game. It is a bit of a downgrade, I think, from the two guys he had in Seattle down to Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. While talented, not as talented. The one advantage that he has being there in Denver is the defense in Denver was really good. They were like top 5 in scoring defense last year or something like that. So they got a really good defense, but he's got to brand new head coach who's never been a head coach, brand new OC who's never been an OC, and a brand new defensive coordinator who's never done that job either. That's a lot to come together.
There is somebody on this show that made that point a couple weeks ago. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, one of the old white guys. Hey, there's three of us here. So, hey, remember now, Russell Wilson isn't getting any younger. I think he's 33 this year. You know?
No. All right, so here's what I've got. I break things down a little bit differently. A lot of people just go win-loss, win-loss. I actually go win-loss, questionable. I have 6 questionable games for the Broncos. I have 6 definite losses, and I have 5 definite wins. So if they're going to get over 10, they're going to have to win 85% of what I think are questionable games. And I'll just go through the questionables. At 49ers week 2 versus Indy week 6, at Tennessee November 13th, against the Raiders November 20th, and at the Chargers at home last game of the season. I think they could lose at least half those games, and if they do, there's no way. There is no way that they get to 10 wins when they close out the season. Kansas City at home, at Arizona, at Rams, at Chiefs. I think those are 4 losses. Anyway, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. They're in a tough division.
All right, now on the flip side of that, you have Russell Wilson's old team, the Seattle Seahawks. Christian, the over-under for Seattle is 5.5. Over or under?
Way over. I think they win at least 9 games this season.
9.
And they sneak into the playoffs. You've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. They are a playoff team.
Who's the quarterback?
You guys hate Drew Lock, and I don't know why.
That's the thing, though.
I don't hate Drew Lock.
I read today, right out of Pete Carroll's mouth, that Geno Smith is ahead of Drew Lock right now in the competition, and if they were to start a game this week, it would be Geno Smith behind center.
I hate Drew Lock, and I don't know why.
If Geno Smith is the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, then my prediction is completely wrong because he is not a winning quarterback. I think Drew Lock was very stunted in that Broncos system, and with a good backfield and great receivers in Seattle, I think he'll thrive, especially in that zone scheming offense that Pete Carroll has. That is the perfect offense for Drew Lock. That is exactly what he ran in college.
I think Seattle is going to have over 5.5 wins, but their quarterback is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo.
That extremely possible.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
They
need an upgrade.
All right, so look, Jimmy G, the 49ers are basically saying the same thing the Browns are saying to Baker. Thanks, but no thanks. Stay home. Don't come to the building. Talk to the hand, right? Garoppolo is not going to be with the 49ers. Everybody kept talking about, and we did on the show, it's going to be Baker in Seattle. And then I started thinking about it, and I went, does Pete Wilson want a Baker Mayfield type of quarterback who's going to want to do his own thing and improvise? No. Pete Carroll would love Jimmy G because he will run the offense. Right, Rocky?
Yeah, look, nobody wanted Jimmy G up till now. I don't think anything happens with Garoppolo till mid-season. And he may end up in Seattle mid-season if Drew Lock craps the bed. Till then, I think he stays where he is.
And
by the way, you called it. Their new quarterback, new quarterback bites. You know it.
Oh, he's horrible. No, he is, but the 49ers have to find out. They gave away first-round draft picks to get the guy. They have to put him on
why'd
the
they do
field
that?
and find out what they have, and then rip the Band-Aid off if he isn't it.
Right.
They can't
Right.
put
And
him on the bench for another season. They've
they
said
have to
they're
play.
moving on. So there are going to be 2 quarterbacks available before training camp. Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield. Jeremy, if you had the choice of those 2 quarterbacks, which one do you take, and which team do you think they best fit on?
I'm probably going to take Jimmy G right now, just because I've seen the guy win more than Baker. Baker had a really good season 2 years ago, took the Browns to the playoffs. Last year he was injured a lot. I don't hate Baker as a quarterback. I don't think he's great, but I think he's an improvement on what some teams have
let's
right
just
now.
say he's no Derek Carr.
Oh yeah, you can definitely say he's no Derek Carr, but I like Baker. He's
Or Jared Goff.
He's a solid QB, but right now, if I'm a team looking to upgrade, I'm going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like he would be more likely to come in and be able to run just about any offense and lead a team, especially a team like, Carolina or Seattle. So,
all right, let's look at Seattle and look at their 5.5 over/under number. With Geno Smith at quarterback, I have no confidence really, or Paxton Lynch. But they have Denver coming to town to open the season, and I think they might just be able to sneak that win. Then they go to San Francisco. How cool would it be if Jimmy G was the quarterback of the Seahawks and week 2 was at San Francisco? Then they get the Lions. Then they get the Saints, Cardinals, Chargers, New York Giants, Cardinals, Tampa Bay, Raiders, Rams, Panthers, 49ers again, Kansas City, Jets, Rams. Now, I'm looking at winning the Denver game, winning the Falcons game, winning the Lions game. Let's start with 3 wins in the first 5 games. Does anybody think I'm crazy? The Falcons are going to be terrible, and the Lions, I would take them if it was in Detroit, but on the road in Seattle, I like the Seahawks. Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. Then they go to the Saints and they lose. Then they go to the Cardinals and they win. We've all been talking about what a mess the Cardinals are. So I'm going to give them a win there. And then 2 weeks later, after they get beaten by the Chargers, the Giants come to Seattle. Anybody have faith in the New York Giants?
No, not at all.
no, they're a quarterback away
There's
still.
a couple of new defensive guys that are going to be impact players, but they're not going to make enough difference this year.
And then the Cardinals come to Seattle. The Cardinals come to Seattle to die once every year. That's just what happens. Then they get Tampa Bay. They lose to the Raiders. They lose to the Rams. They beat Carolina first. Then I'm going to say San Francisco 49ers to them 15 they win that game. Because they're not that bad at it. In fact, they lose to the Chiefs and they beat the Jets, and that's 6 wins.
Yeah. They might get 6 wins if they upgrade their quarterback. If they go in with Geno, I don't give them a chance much at all this season.
If they have Geno Smith at quarterback, they might get 6 wins. If they have Jimmy G, which I think they're going to have, I think the reality is they actually have a chance at winning 9 or 10.
Geno Smith is a backup.
Yeah,
He will be back up this year. He will not start week 1.
Well, that's what we're thinking.
Don't care what the head coach says.
Nobody says to the press. I don't care what he says to the press. Well, he could have said, "Oh, Geno Smith is just crappy little backup. We don't even need him, but he's all we got." He's not going to say that, but that might be what he really thinks. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
All right. My last over-under. I love this team. I really love this team because I love their coach. I am going to be a fan this year of the Detroit knee-biter Lions. Honestly. I just like their coach, and I like their culture. It's a throwback. Now, the Lions, get this. The Lions won 3 games last year. Their over-under is 6.5. Seattle won 9 games last year. Their over-under is 5.5. What? This is where you have to look at something that the bookies are doing and go, okay, something doesn't make sense. So here's the Lions. They've got to win 6.5 to go over, and I'm going to say they'll go over, and here's why. The Eagles come into town game 1. I think that's either way. Then they get the Commanders. Carson Wentz is horrible. I say they win that game at home. Then they're at the Vikings. Is anybody scared by the Vikings? I'm not. I'm going to put a question on that game. Then they get Seattle in Detroit, and I said that was a win for Detroit, and I'm giving them a win. Then they lose to New England. They lose at Dallas. Miami comes in, and that's a question mark for me. Who the hell are they going to be? They lose to Green Bay, and then Chicago, they go 2 and win. They win at the New York Giants. They lose to Buffalo. They win against Jacksonville. It's questionable against Minnesota. And then they win when the New York Jets come to town, and they close out with a win at the Panthers and the Bears. I'm saying the Lions are going to win 8 games.
That all depends on Jared Goff's productivity.
Yeah. Well,
They're scrappy. They were scrappy last year. They hung in a lot of games, and there were a number of games that they were right there at the end and just couldn't pull it off. So, another year under this. Yeah, another year under this coach, and another year with Goff in this offense. A couple of new weapons here and there. I don't know how soon they're going to get Jameson Williams on the field, but he's going to give them an amazing weapon once he's full swing again as well. So, I don't know about 8 games. I don't have a lot of faith in Detroit usually, but I'd like to see him do it.
And maybe I'm buying into a little bit of wishful thinking too, because God, I'd like to see the Detroit Lions actually matter in the NFL for once, because they've been just an irrelevancy for so long. But I love their coach. I love the culture that they're building. And I think they could do great things. And I'm predicting they're going to be over that 6.5. It might be 7. It might be 8. And you know what? On the outside, it might be 9 or 10. That may sound crazy, but I just think Jared Goff, he took a team to a Super Bowl, man. How many quarterbacks do that? Not many. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They've got decent running backs. They now have a decent weapons on the outside. T.J. Hawkinson's a good tight end. They shored up the defense with Aiden Hutchinson and the other picks. I think this is a team that could make some noise and surprise some people. So there's that.
All
right, Raiders. Raiders update, Jeremy.
Smash mouth football. People are going to love them.
Absolutely. Raiders update for me is Devontae Adams said he loves playing with Derek Carr, and he took a pay cut to come to the Raiders. Green Bay offered him more money, and he moved on anyway. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're good friends. They're college teammates, and they've wanted to play together for years now. There was actually a story that came out earlier today that Devontae was comparing playing with Carr and playing with Aaron Rodgers. And it said, there are, talent-wise and intelligence-wise, there's really no difference, he says, if he's being honest. He says, yeah, each one has a little different release. They do things a little different, but he is fully on board and completely confident that Derek Carr's going to be able to get him the ball and get him the ball a lot. And I'm confident in that myself. So, it's good to hear that he's excited to be playing with Carr and that he's got good comparisons to Aaron Rodgers even. But the other interesting thing about the Raiders today is, I don't know if you saw that, but they extended Hunter Renfrow, gave him a 2-year, $32 million extension.
No, it's not Hunter Renfrow. It's Third and Renfrow.
Okay. Well, there you go. We'll use his nickname. But yes, he's got his extension as well for 2 more years. Nice payday for that guy. And now really their last
Darren
step.
Waller's next, right?
Yeah, Darren Waller's the last one there. If he get him situated for another 3 or 4 years, then they're going to be locked up with some talented guys over the next 4 years, and this team should be able to make a run.
Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, a stacked running back room. The only question mark for me is the offensive line, and they seem happy about it. And the Raiders also have $21 million of cap space right now that they're not using.
Well, a little bit of it went to Renfrow, when he got his extension. But, they're going to be able to use some of that money probably for Waller if they decide to do that this year. And there might even be a little bit for another free agent or two. There's some guys out there I think could still help this team. Honestly, you talk about the offensive line, I would love to see them bring in J.C. Treader, formerly of the Cleveland Browns. He's a center. He's considered, by a lot, one of the top 10 centers in the league. He doesn't have a team right now. And then they can shift the rookie out to guard because they seem to be putting Leatherwood at right tackle in minicamps this year. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that works out. I hope it does. Rocky, Rams update. How are they doing this? How are they hiring all these players and not losing the
How about that?
It's insane.
They just keep finding money in the sofa cushions, man. They got Matthew Stafford got a mega deal, and now they've signed Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald to the new Aaron Donald standard. He's making $33 million a year now. That for a defensive lineman is absolutely unheard of. It's the new standard.
Wait. Hang on just a second, Rocky. I've got to say, I like how you do business.
I like how you do business, baby. Now listen. This is something they cannot keep doing. This off-season spending.
What is that about, dude?
What's that?
Nothing, man. Nothing.
What is that?
I like how you do business.
I like how you do business. Good. Hey, listen.
Four brothers.
That's one of Lou's favorite lines from a movie no one saw.
All right.
Anyway, they cannot keep this up. But they did it for this year. They've got one more left to sign. They just have to sign OBJ. Everybody else has got their max contracts. There's nobody else making money, and they actually gained some money. They earned $7.5 million, I believe, in cap space. They just have to find money to pay OBJ what's he looking for? Christian, $12.6 million.
He's looking for $16.7 million this season.
$16 million, and the only way they can do that is by restructuring. The only guy left that they have a big contract is Jalen Ramsey. Christian, can they just cut a bunch of players? Where can they find that money? Can they cut some players?
They can't cut any players. Everyone under Matthew Stafford is making less than $3 million this season. Even their newest signing and Bobby Wagner's only making $2.5. So the only way they can get OBJ under the salary cap is to restructure Jalen Ramsey's $23.2 million up to about.
Now, see, that's what I got. How did you come to that conclusion?
God, kids today, like
I did the math on it.
Just on top of all the numbers. By the way,
You did the math. Right on.
I have
So they restructure Jalen Ramsey and they sign OBJ. They're done.
By the way, I have 2 beautiful kids that probably beyond the age of having any more children, but if I did have one, their name would be Max Contract.
Max contract. Yeah, we got to put some cleats on you, bro. Get you back on the gridiron, Christian. No more baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, Max Contract. Desmond taking the line. Oh boy, this has been fun, guys. Isn't this great? We're on this channel, that channel, this other channel, and back and forth and on and off. Jeremy, take us out.
Oh, thank you everyone for joining us here on our first ever YouTube live broadcast. For those of you who switched over from the radio station, thank you for doing so. We can be heard every Friday at 5 o'clock on KMET 1490 in Southern California, and we can be seen for a full hour every week now here on YouTube and various other social media. Go Raiders, go football. Go Raiders, go football. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, send Max contract down. Peace out.
That echo, man.